What follows is a class on the Bhagavad Gita as it is, second chapter, text number 51 to 54, given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded in the summer of 1966 in New York.
That is the position of conscious play. And Srimad Bhagavata also says, the Sabai Purusha Paro Dharma, the activities, the occupation, the business, that which leads us to that consciousness, that I am subordinate to the Supreme Consciousness, and let me act according to the Supreme Consciousness, without any cause, without why I shall act. There is no such question. It is automatic. Just like a little son and the mother. The little son is automatically subordinate to the mother. Whatever the mother says, the child acts. The mother is completely dependent. Similarly, as soon as we make our consciousness completely engaged in the service of the Supreme Consciousness, that is our liberated position. That is our liberated position. And in that liberated position, whatever we do, there is no reaction. That is transcendental position. So what Sri Krishna says here, that karmajam, that any work which you are performing, that is creating some reaction for future enjoyment or suffering. But if you act intelligently, in collaboration with the Supreme Consciousness, then you will be free from this bondage of birth, death, old age and diseases. And in your next life, this is a training period. This life will be a training period. And as soon as you are fully trained up, then the next result will be that after giving up this body, you come to my kingdom. Tatta dehang punarjanma naiti mameti kaunte. So this is the whole process. So that sort of business, which will lead us to the position when we shall be dovetailed with the Supreme Consciousness. Just like this morning I was giving an example. Just like one motor car is passing on in 60 miles speed and a cyclist also going on. If the cyclist catches the motor car, he can also proceed with the same speed, 60 miles speed, without even paddling. Similarly, if we can join our consciousness with the Supreme Consciousness, then our whole life becomes successful. That is the point. Now, how to join it? The religion. This whole worldly religious process is the same, experimental or formulas or rituals, so that one may become dovetailed with the Supreme Consciousness. Every religion. But if we become attracted by the ritual only, or formula, and quarrel on that point, that, my Bible says like this, and I say, no, my Vedas says like this. The Muslim says that, my Quran says like this, yours is not right. Then we become attached to the rituals only. We forget the right point. The right point is, the whole process is, how to dovetail myself with the Supreme Consciousness. Going to the church, it is not a formality, but the real thing is to elevate myself gradually, to dovetail myself to the Supreme Consciousness of God. That is the real formula. So, Krishna says that karmajang buddhijukta, when we are engaged in such a way, then we get rid of this janmabandha vinimukti. And next sloka is Jadate mohakalila gantashi nidvedam sotabbasya sutasya. When you are elevated to that platform, dovetailing yourself with the Supreme Consciousness, then there is no more requisition for understanding the scriptures or the rituals or the religious process. We are transcendental to that, all these paraphernalia. Jadade mohakalilang buddhidvati tarishyati. When your consciousness is adopted in cooperation with the Supreme Consciousness, then you are transcendental to the position of this illusory stage. Jadate mohakalinam buddhidvati tarishyati tada gantashi nidvedam. At that time, you become callous to all these rituals, because your position and your activities are fixed. Sotabbasya sutasya. Whatever you have heard and whatever you have to hear in the future, all finishes. Therefore the whole thing depends how to adjust ourselves to that Supreme Consciousness. And if we cannot, the next verse in the Srimad Bhagavad says, the dharma sanisthita pungsha vishakshena kathasuja notpadayavati jadi samayevahi kevalam. Samayevahi kevalam. If by performing all religious rituals very nicely and very perfectly, if we fail to dovetail ourselves with the Supreme Consciousness, then all our labor for performing these rituals and religious performances, they become only labor of love. It has not produced anything substantial. Anything substantial. Nano nistamani karmani kurbuta me. This is the question of Arjuna, that when I shall be self-realized by doing work without any fruitive result, so what will be the position of my self-realization? That in answer to that question, that when you shall be callous to all religious rituals and scriptural injunction, and simply you shall be engaged in the dovetailing business with the super consciousness, then you are in transcendental position of all religious rituals and all conception of religious ceremonies and everything. But in the beginning, you require all these things. Therefore, Bhagavad says that that sort of religion which elevates you to that consciousness, that is the supreme type of religion. Sutibi pratipannate jadasthasati nischala samadhu achala buddhi tada yogam avasasi. This is the position of yoga. Yoga, samadhi means to be always situated in the super consciousness, situated in the business of dovetailing with the super consciousness. That is called samadhi. Bhagavad Gita says, Sutivi pratipannati jadasthasati nischala. You are not defeated. Even by hearing so many other things, if you are not defeated, then that position is called samadhi, and that position is the highest position of your life. Now, Krishna is being questioned by Arjuna that what are the symptoms of such person who is already in that position of dovetailing the individual consciousness with the superconscious? What are the symptoms? Arjuna Vacha, Sita Pragasya Ka Bhasha, Samadhi Thasya Kesava, Sitadhi Kim Prabhasita Kimasita Bhajita Kim. Now, Arjuna says, my dear Krishna, will you kindly explain what are the language, how a person who is already in transcendental position, how does he speak? How does he act? And how does he live? How does he move? All these things. Because in our present life, we have to act. Activities not stopped. Simply, the activities are to be dovetailed in a certain way that we can join ourselves with the superconsciousness. Now, when such thing is performed, when actually one is dovetailed with the superconsciousness, what are the symptoms of his life? This is being questioned by Arjuna. And Lord Krishna, Sri Bhagavan Vacha. You will find always in Bhagavad Gita that although Krishna is speaking and the word Bhagavan is used, because Krishna is Krishna, that very word means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like we have recited this law, Ishara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadi Radi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So Krishna and Bhagavan is identical. So here you will see in the Bhagavad Gita, instead of mentioning that Krishna said, when Arjuna is speaking, it is clearly said that Arjuna said, but when Krishna is speaking, it is said, see, Bhagavan Upacha, the personality of God is speaking. Now, Sri Krishna answering, the symptoms of the self-realized personality. So, what is that first symptom is, Prajahati jada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmani eva atmana tushta sthita prajna taduchyate. The first principle of, the first symptom of a self-realized soul is that he does not make any plan for his prosperity. Because we are always busy in making plans. Now, after this, we shall do this. After this, we shall do this. But one who is self-realized, he has no plan. Because he has dovetailed himself with the Supreme Consciousness, so for himself he has nothing to do. He simply depends. He simply depends on the Supreme Consciousness. It is very elevated stage, you see, that completely he surrenders himself, and but we should not be, imitating this. This is, of course, spoken for the high stage. But we should, without coming to that high stage, we should not imitate. When Krishna is asked, he must give the proper answer. So he is giving the answers that Prajahati jata kaman sarvan partha manogata. Because our mind is the factory of creating so many plans. So many plans. But one who has dovetailed himself, he has nothing to do for plan making, because everything is taken up by the Supreme Consciousness. He has simply to follow. Therefore he has, for himself, he has no plan. He has no plan. This is the first step. But without reaching that stage, and we should not pose ourselves that I have nothing to think, I have nothing to think of future, past, or everything. No, gradually we shall come to the stage when there will be everything done automatically. But in the present moment, we should give up plan making. But we shall have to take up the plan of the Supreme Consciousness. Personally, we shall not make any plan, but we have to receive the plan from the Supreme Consciousness. That will be our position. Just like an apprentice, he is working in the apprenticeship, he should not present his own plan, but he has to take plans of work from his superior. Then he will learn. And when he is accustomed, when he is elevated, then he will be able to make independent plans, not independent always, but even if he is higher officer, everyone has to consult the higher authority. Similarly, this means that I shall not independently make any plan, but I must accept the standard plan which is coming directly from the Supreme Consciousness through a channel. We have to seek that channel. So that channel is called, you will find it in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 4th chapter, parampara, disciplic succession. Disciplic succession. The words, the plans and the instruction which is coming directly from Krishna, that thing we have to accept. We shall not make any our own plan. That is the way of making progress. Now, this disciplic succession, as we have accepted, this disciplic succession comes from Krishna. Just like Krishna is instructing Arjuna. Krishna is instructing Arjuna. And we have to understand how Arjuna has understood Krishna. And if we follow the understanding of Arjuna, then we are following the parampara system or the disciplic succession. That is the process. Now in the 10th chapter, you will find that how Krishna is understood by Arjuna. After hearing not all, at least 75% of the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, the estimation of Arjuna is stated in the 10th chapter. He says that, Arjuna, after understanding Krishna, after his instruction, he says that automatically he says, Parang Brahma Parang Dhama Pavitrang Paramam Bhavan Purusam Sasatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajang Vibhum. Krishna, now I understand it, that you are Param Brahma. Param Brahma means the supreme spiritual identity. Every one of us is Brahma. You are Brahma, I am Brahma. Every living entity is Brahma. Because he is not this matter, he is spirit, soul. Whoever is spirit, soul, he is called Brahma. But Krishna is addressed here, Param Brahma. Just like we recited that slok, the verse, Ishara Parama Krishna. Ishara, every one of us, Ishara. The translation of Ishara word is God. The God means, Ishara means controller. So every one of us is controller. But Krishna is the supreme controller. He has no controller. I am controller. I am Brahma. But at the same time, I have got superior controller over me. But Krishna is called Param Brahma or the Ishara Parama, the supreme controller. because he has no controller over it. That is the acceptance of Arjuna. This is the mode of studying Bhagavad Gita. If we don't interpret in our own way, if we really want to study Bhagavad Gita, then here is the confirmation by Arjuna how he understands Krishna after hearing Bhagavad Gita. Not only that, he also, in the 11th chapter, you find that Arjuna will request Krishna to show him his gigantic universal form. Because Arjuna as he is, he accepted Krishna that he is God undoubtedly. But in future, people may think that Krishna and Arjuna were two friends. So, out of friendly appreciation, Arjuna might have accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But what is the evidence to us? Now here, when Arjuna requested that Krishna, you kindly show me the gigantic form, the gigantic universal form, he showed. That is also described. So the idea is that imitation God, there may be so many. Nowadays it has become a fashion, and not in your country, at least in India, it has become a fashion that everyone is coming out and he declares himself, I am God. I am God. As if the God has become a very cheap thing and it can be had in the market wherever you go. That is not the thing. God is not so cheap thing. You see? God is not so cheap thing. The description of God is in the Brahma Samhita is given. Jassaika nishasita kalamathavalamba jivanti loma vilaja jagadannanatha Vishnu mahan sayyajas sakala visiso govindamadi purisam tamaham bhajami. The God, this material creation, we have got this information from authoritative scripture. This material creation, how it is being done. It is being done that the Supreme Lord, in his form of Mahavishnu, is lying on the causal ocean and in a sleeping mood, and with the breathing of his nostril, so many universes are being born as seed. And when he is taking the breathing, inhaling, the whole thing is going into him. So such is the position of God, that by his breathing, all the universes are coming, and by his breathing, so the existence of this universe means within his breathing period, within the breathing period of the Mahavishnu. So that Mahavishnu is described, Jassaika nishasita kalamathavalamba jivanti loma vilaja jagadannanatha Vishnu mahan sayyajasya kalavisasa. That Mahavishnu is also plenary portion of Krishna, Govinda. That Mahavishnu is also not the original. The original personality of God is Krishna. So, this is a great science. What Krishna is, Krishna science. It is simply a synopsis. Bhagavad Gita is only a synopsis of the science of God. And it is not explicitly given in the Srimad Bhagavat, but after all, it is a great science. And if we study it very seriously, then we can understand. We should not take so cheaply that here is a God, here is a God, here is a God. No, God is not so cheap. God is one, and He is great. God is great, as in English language it is said. And nobody can be greater than Him or equal to Him. That is the position of God. Now here, Arjuna, he accepts Krishna, and he says that you are Parabrahma. Parabrahma, Param Dhama. Dhama means in which everything rests. We are resting. Everything is resting, just like this is scientific and practical, you know, that the innumerable planets, that you can see at night as luminary stars in the stars, each and every one of them, more or less, they are all different kinds of planets. But do you know how they are floating in the space? They are floating on the sunshine, on the sun rays. They are floating, that you can see. Similarly, the sunshine is the imitation of the Brahma Jyoti that is coming out of the body of the Supreme Lord. So everything is resting on the sign of the Supreme Lord. Therefore he is called Param Dhama. Param Dhama means everything resting on you. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram. Pavitra means uncontaminated. Because we, although we are Brahma, now we are contaminated by this material body. But the Lord has no contaminated body of this material existence. We have already noted. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Satchidananda Vigraha means his body is full of bliss, full of knowledge, and it is eternal. That is completely distinct from this body. So when there is description of the Lord that he is formless means he is not of this form. He has got a Satchidananda Vigraha, a different element. Therefore he is called Pavitra and Paramam Bhava. You are the supreme original. Purusam Shastratam Divyam Adi Devam Ajana Vibhum. So you are Purus. Purus means enjoyer. In the Vedic literature about yourself. Ahustam Rishayo Sarve. All the greatest sages accept you, the Supreme Lord. Ahustam Rishayo Sarve Devarsi Narada. Devarsi Narada. I have already spoken to you about Narada. He has also accepted. That means authorities. He is quoting authorities. Not that I am personally accepting you as such. But there are many authorities. Many authorities. So, we have to understand about the science of God from the extraordinary activities and confirmed by the authorities, accepted by the revealed scriptures, then we have to accept. You see? Not blind. So Arjuna is giving such evidences. You see? Asito devalabhyasa sanchaiva brabhisime. You are accepted by such authorities like that, and I have the opportunity that I hear all these from you directly. I am fortunate enough that I am become your related in friendship with you, and I am hearing. So here is the evidence. Now, if you want to study Bhagavad Gita, then you have to accept all this statement of Arjuna. Because Bhagavad Gita was explained directly to Arjuna. And if you don't accept the appreciation of the direct person who heard Bhagavad Gita, then whom do we believe? Suppose I have heard something directly from one person, so what I am saying, another person who has no direct relation, he is also saying, whom would you believe? You have to believe the person who has directly heard. So here, there is no doubt about it. That Arjuna directly heard Krishna, and his appreciations are recorded here. So therefore, if we want to study Bhagavad Gita, then we have to accept the appreciation of the direct hearer, Arjuna. If we do that, then we can get the right thing. But if we change it for our ulterior motive, as so many annotators are doing in the case of Bhagavad Gita, then we cannot be able to understand what is Bhagavad Gita. All right.